Is the new Oakley Sphaera better than the Sutro Lite? Probably not, but let's check out all the similarities and all the differences. My name is Sunglass Rob here at SportRx, and today we're gonna talk about these new Sphaeras, and they're not really new anymore, but the Sutros, the Sutro Lites, the Sutro Lite Sweeps are so amazing and been selling so well for so many years. Can we dethrone them? Let's find out. So what are the similarities between these glasses? Well, they're both kind of sport intended use glasses. They have a one solid shield kind of lens. They have the 3-point fit system, which means they sit on your nose and just go straight back. They don't go behind your ears. They both are available with amazing prism technology. They both have lots of unobtainium, which is like this rubberized grip that you see everywhere. And that's actually how Oakley was started as a company, was the invention of unobtainium. The hotter you get and the more you sweat, the stickier and tackier they get. They're both interchangeable. As of now, neither of them are RXable, which makes me sad because we work at SportRx, so you can't get them in prescription. If that changes, we'll put some comments or something down there. But for now, you cannot get them in prescription. They both use the Plutonite Oakley lens material, which is really tough to break, very shatter resistant. But there is a difference in the lenses as well. So the Sphaera is more of a spherical lens, which means they kind of curve up and down and left to right. And the Sutro Lites are more of a cylindrical design, which means they only kind of curve this way, right to left, and they're flatter up and down, which is gonna give a big aesthetic difference, kind of the 80s inspired, cool, kind of retro feel. You get this a lot in snow goggles as well, is like this new kind of cylindrical, which is kind of old, but it's kind of new again, cylindrical design. What has changed in cylindrical design over the last few years is the optics. Historically, spherical lenses had far superior optics to cylindrical lenses, but that is not so true anymore. The industry has figured out much better ways of making cylindrical lenses, so the optics are pretty much on par now with spherical lenses. It's just kind of more of an aesthetic look. And aesthetically, there are kind of major differences here. So you have the Sphaera, and then you have the Sutro Lite. There's also the Sutro Lite Sweep. This one we're not gonna kind of pick up quite as much. This is basically the same exact frame, except the lens shape is made to look even more 80s and even more retro. We're gonna start with some differences on the frames. Weight-wise, they feel very, very similar. The Sphaera has this brow brim kind of design. It kind of looks like that pair of glasses is almost wearing a visor itself. I don't know if you would really notice it unless you are a eyewear professional and reviewed glasses for a living, but I noticed it, and I do think it could functionally have some purpose because it could block a little bit more light for you. The Sutro does not have that, but I think the real big obvious difference here is the aesthetics. Like the Sphaera is kind of modern, sharp, edgy, funky, aggressive almost. These are actually made for a reason. It's to take the glasses off this kind of hole there, but I think more than anything, it's the aesthetics. And the Sutro Lites are a little bit more kind of cool, retro, maybe a little bit more relaxed kind of vibe. I think aesthetics is gonna be kind of a big difference here if you're making a choice, but we are gonna go over some of the other things. Like if you're a cyclist, what's really important to a lot of people is in the Aero position, if you're looking over the top of the glasses, and the Sutro Lites are really hard to look over the top. They have great vision that way, great spacing. I think it's gonna be really hard. The Sphaera is much easier to look over the top of the glasses. And these are vented. The vent does not distract me, but looking over the top is a little bit more distracting, definitely. They also have kind of different lens proportions and lens sizing. So as far as peripheral vision, wind protection, I think they're pretty close, but the Sutro had a little bit more kind of down here. So I think I felt that difference a little bit. Nose pad wise, the Sutro Lite has a thicker, bigger saddle nose bridge. I find it really comfortable, even though I have a big nose. It has a lot of grip there. It's kind of really there. The Sphaera uses the traditional nose pad that's been on like the M frame and the radars forever. Very comfortable, but it's not quite as substantial. And then both of them have very similar unobtainium on the temples. Both of them are kind of a ridged unobtainium and it's hidden. So on the Sphera, if you look really close on the outside, you could see a little bit of the unobtainium. It's mostly on the inside with these lines for texture that help the glasses stay in place. The Sutro from the outside, you don't see it at all. And on the inside, it has those similar lines. Another thing people really ask about is hats and hat compatibility. This is a pretty curved brim hat, a little more curved than I would normally personally wear, but that's where you kind of get the problem. So flat brim hat, usually there's no issues. The Sutro Lite curves down and kind of follows the contour of this kind of curved brim a lot better than the Sphera. So the Sphera, I get a kind of lot of argument over real estate is kind of my way of putting it. Like the brim wants to hit the hat. I mean, if it was a little flatter, it probably wouldn't be a problem at all. But if you really like that curved hat thing, it is kind of touching. I feel it on my nose kind of pushing down. So there's a little bit of like real estate fight over there. As far as behind, both fit great. Both fit underneath the hat, no problem. Underneath the helmet, same way, no problem, no issue at all. So really, if you're wearing a curved brim a lot, then you might consider the Sutro Lite over the Sphera. All right, let's talk about fit next. As far as like the width of the frame, they're within a millimeter. Both would be considered about a large, fits most people kind of a fit. I found that the Sutro Lite, because of a little bit of its flexibility and it's just design, works really well with even bigger heads and kind of round faces. So I really like this pair personally a lot. The Sphera, I think, is just a very similar size. It's a large, one size fits most kind of a fit. So I think size-wise, fit-wise, not much of a difference between these two. All right, why don't we just go over the main points again? I think really the biggest difference here is going to be aesthetics. This is kind of, the Sphera is modern, new, edgy, kind of funky. The Sutro's a little bit more mellow, a little bit more retro. Can probably get away with wearing them off the bike or not using them for sports more than the Sphera, where the Sphera looks very, very sporty. That temple design is kind of drastically different. This one that has the grip to take them off and on. I do think if you're a roadie and you're in the Aero position, the height difference where they fit on your face and not looking over the Aero bars is a big win on the Sutro Lite. I think, of course, it's always going to be personal which one you like the most. If you're wearing a curved brim a lot, definitely the Sutro might be a better fit for you. But both are amazing glasses. Both have amazing optics, prism technology. Neither right now you can get in prescription, which makes me a little bit sad. Did we dethrone the Sutro Lites? Put a comment down in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any more questions, please feel free to pick up the phone and call us, talk to one of our opticians, chat with us. We know a lot about Oakleys. We know a lot about sports. We want to help you have the best glasses you've ever had in your life. And if you get something from us and you don't love them, they're always exchangeable, returnable. You're never stuck with anything from SportRx. We'd love for you to stick around and watch that next video and follow us on all the social media, subscribe to YouTube, like this video. I'm out of breath. Bye.